Fans of the Horus Heresy and Warhammer 40,000, thank you very much for joining me for the third and final part of my Primaris Saturday unboxing series of videos. This is the third part. In part one we did the Reavers, in part two we did the Aggressors, and in this third and final part we're going to do the Redemptor Dreadnought. Now, of the three, this is one that excites me the most. And as I'd said, these are all my mates who's lent to me for the purposes of doing an unboxing review. However, I did have a moment of weakness, and if we bring this box forward we can see there's another one hiding behind it. So yes, I have actually bought myself one of these, which we'll unbox now. Right, so the Redemptor Dreadnought. This is what happens if a great Primaris Space Marine hero gets into that all too wounded position of being crippled and worthy of internment into a cybernetic body of a Dreadnought. And as Primaris Space Marines are bigger than normal Space Marines, so is this Redemptor Dreadnought. However, the upscaling here is massive. This is proportionately a lot bigger than a Primaris compared to a normal Marine. This thing is actually, size-wise, it's more like a Leviathan Dreadnought, and even arguably it compares more directly to the Telemon Heavy Dreadnought from the Legio Custodes in 30k. And, you know, things such as the Thanatar class Battle Automata. It's a big beastie. It does look great though. So let's have a quick look around. This feels quite a heavy box. There you go. It costs 40 of your hard-earned British pounds. I'm not sure what prices are around the world. And I guess most exciting thing is you get a macro plasma incinerator. Oh dear. Well, you know my thoughts on this plasma incinerator nomenclature. I didn't like on the plasma incinerator rifles, so I call them phased plasma rifles on the Primaris Marines. So I'll call that a phased plasma cannon. There you go. You heard it first on channel Leakycheese. We also have the somewhat verbosely named Onslaught Heavy Gatling Cannon. Well, if we do that and call it a heavy Gatling cannon, that makes things easier for everyone involved. A heavy flamer, a Redemptor Fist, and I don't know what's that behind that price label. We'll find out in a moment. But it's a great looking model, it really is. I'm really excited for this. I love building Dreadnoughts. I've talked about this before. When I do the Q&A, I quite, people say, oh, what's your favourite model, or what would you like building from Forge World, and all that sort of stuff. And I say, I like the Dreadnoughts. I love posing Dreadnoughts, and I'm excited for this model for that reason. Now, okay, right, there we go. I had a moment of man versus plastic fail, but it seems like we are now in. Now, I say that. This one doesn't want to come out of the box, putting up a fight. Let's open it up. It feels a heavy pack. It feels like there's a lot of stuff in it, and yeah, it's packed to the gunnels, this particular box. Right, so get 1, 2, 3 sprues, which is a little bit on the curvy side. Don't think that will matter. Is that an 80mm base? I think that's an 80mm base. I'm going to cheat and read on the box. Right, this box contains blah 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 blah. No, maybe it's in the instructions. Okay, right, I understand why I was confused about the size of this base. It's because it is neither an 80 or a 100mm base. If we get our ruler of measuring, we can see that it's actually a 90mm base. Well, let me do that the right way up. There you go, so 90mm. Smack bang between the Leviathan and the Telemon in base size. So we get the 3 sprues and a vehicle transfer sheet, once again for the Ultramarines, which is, well, great if you're an Ultramarine, I suppose. Maybe it's time to have a bit of eBaying of those. Okay, let's have a quick flick through the instruction manual. Got a CAD render, got the phased plasma cannon, got the heavy Gatling cannon. So we've got the build. This looks super fun and exciting. I can't wait to do this. One thing that I remember one of the designers telling me about when I was at an open day is this bit, and it's designed so these panels can attach on after you've painted it. So it's kind of like a, you can underpaint the exoskeleton part and then put the armour panels on later to help you with the painting. If you like things opening, you can have the sarcophagus open, so it's got an armoured shroud, and then then it can be open as well. So you can have either storm bolters or fragstorm grenade launchers. That's interesting. I wonder if these are interchangeable. Well, they can be made to be interchangeable with the addition of some small magnets if they're not designed that way. Now, what's all this yardie-da with bits sticking and bits not sticking? Okay, right, so this has been designed in such ways to help with the posing of the model. That's good, I like that. So the legs are posable. I mean, from what I've seen, a fully multi-posable kit, so it's going to be great fun for doing the build. I'm just taking my time on this because I'm quite intrigued. Right, it says don't glue that, don't glue that, don't glue that, don't glue that. Okay, and then you end up with an articulating arm. Interesting. Again, even if you don't want your Dreadnought to move, it will certainly help with posing. So a good, yeah, good design. Right, what else? So you can articulate the gun mount, so for the heavy Gatling cannon, and then you can have another Gatling cannon there, or a heavy flamer. You can really go with Vidaka on this. Suspect an opportunity for magnetisation there. And it says don't glue the arm, and it's saying, is that a choice? Well, these are clear candidates for magnetisation, and you know, you absolutely want to try create some sort of way of swapping between the weapons, I'd say. Great idea to do. From a game point of view, it doesn't matter, but from having great fun with your model, really cool to be able to change the weapons. Unless you're playing with the sort of people where you've got the WYSIWYG fanatics, but that's not me. I'm going to get in trouble now in the comments section, aren't I, for calling the WYSIWYG people fanatics, or a certain group of them. Oh dear. Right, and then we take the assembled Dreadnought and stick it on the base. We've got some separate purity seals, good. I won't put mine on. And then he can stand there, look groovy, and open his sarcophagus if he's feeling hot. Looks interesting. I think this is, as is often the case, this will be a really fun build. Looking forward to doing this, yeah. Some great customization and modularity options there. Let's have a quick look at the rules on this puppy, because I'm intrigued. Stat line is move 8, weapon skill, ballistic skill is 3 plus power 10, it's an elite's choice. Strength and toughness are 7, wounds are 13, almost as good a stat line as a Leviathan Dreadnought. Attacks are 4, leadership 8, and saving throw is 3 plus. And it is equipped with a heavy Gatling cannon, a heavy flamer, an Icarus rocket pod, 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, and a Redemptor fist, so it's packing. Let's have a look. Fragstorm grenade launcher, so we've seen that before, yeah, so that's the same as what the aggressors have. The heavy flamer, yeah, we've seen that before. A heavy Gatling cannon, or the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon. So I think heavy Gatling cannon's enough. Range is 30, heavy 12, strength 5, -1 AP, and damage 1. So like a heavy bolter with a bit less range and 4 times the fire rate. The Icarus rocket pod, range 24, heavy D3, strength 7, AP -1, damage 1. All right, so that's useful against flyers, or has a benefit against flyers. So yeah, I guess it's got the right sort of damage stats to be effective on flyers. And then we finally have the macro plasma incinerator, so the phased plasma cannon. You can fire standard or supercharged. Standard is heavy D6, range 36, strength 8, AP -4, damage 1. And supercharging it puts up to strength 9, -4, and damage 2. And you've got to watch out for mortal wounds, although arguably on this thing it can afford to take a few, given it's got 13 wounds, and stick a Techmarine next to it and it'll never die from that. Right, what else we've got? We've got the standard Gatling cannon, which is range 24, heavy 6, strength 5, -1. So that's like a slightly toned down assault cannon. Faster firing though. Less strength. Interesting. Stormbolter is familiar fare and a Redemptor fist. So that's going to be hitting at strength 14. So yeah, Knight Titans and Titans beware. That'll be damaging a Reaver Titan on the 3 plus. Yeah. Would it be on the 3 plus? Yeah, it would. Yeah. 5 or a 6 versus a Warlord. And there's your keywords as well. Oh, and it can explode. Certainly seems equipped for volume fire. Right, let's have a look at these sprues. Right. There's a design feature on this I really like. They've put this on the phased plasma cannon. They've put this bar running across the top of the plasma cores. That means you haven't got an annoying mold line to try clean out from between those. So that's quite a neat put together model feature. One thing that's less good here is you've got the mold line running right around the length of this weapon. So when you stick it together, you're going to have a mold line. So I might do a tutorial on how to get rid of these mold lines without having to do any filling as such, just by in effect softening the plastic around here, around the edge when you glue it, doing a bit of gooey squidging, and then filing the thin ridge you create flush. So I might do that as a little demo. Same issue with the Gatling cannon. That's going to be more work to hide it because you've got all the barrels, the ridges, the cooling vents. But the detail is great, looks really good. All the different bits. That's nice that that cable's being cast as a single piece, I like that. Mold lines on this doesn't look too egregious. To be honest, most of the parts seem to have been designed in such a way that the mold lines run along the edges, plates and stuff, so they're actually quite well hidden. Let's go to the second sprue. Right, what we got here. So that first sprue, oh, actually there's one bit I want to go back to on this. There you go, look at that. End of the heavy Gatling cannon. Excellent. Love that. Although, probably you should bung up the end. Well, I don't know. I'm hoping the designer didn't think that it would fire out of the centre barrel. That would be silly, wouldn't it? Completely defeat the operating principle of having a rotary cannon. Unless it's a very sophisticated combination rotary and revolver cannon. That would be technically complicated, but it is a 41st millennium. Right, so we've got some more bits. So the mold lines on this don't look bad at all. Again, lots of work to do with that. If you're wanting to get a really good seamless finish on your model, things like this waist unit where you've got it in two halves, you're going to have a big line to deal with there if you want to get it looking bob on, but it can be done. A lot of these bits are hidden, so it doesn't matter, but for ones that are visible, I want to do something about it. But that actually looks really well turned out. That's really nice, and actually the mold lines in terms of parts cleanup are very negligible on this sprue. It's very well executed. The more I look at this one, the more I'm actually impressed by it. So that's excellent, that one is super. And then let's look at the final sprue, which I'm hoping, did I miss the sarcophagus on that sprue? I was hoping to spot the sarcophagus. There it was on the first sprue, silly me. Right, back to the final sprue. So what we've got here, so we've got like the shoulder units, got the base plate. This is lots of sort of component parts of the Dreadnought. So again, looking at mold lines on this, there's really not that much work to do, it would appear. No, not at all. Very nicely turned out. Yeah, I mean, looking at these cables and looking along the crest of the cable, I can barely see a mold line. As a matter of fact, yeah, that's brilliant. I'm genuinely impressed by the absence of mold lines on that. That's brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Great. There we have it. The Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. So that's 40 quid, that one. It's a bit more expensive than the Reavers. I mean, I think price-wise, the production cost is no more, but probably cool-wise, I would say, yeah, I don't mind paying the 40 for the Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. Oh God, I've been suckered by their pricing scheme, haven't I? Aside from that, I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Dreadnought. Because I've bought this one, I will be doing some build reviews and a full model review as I normally do. As I said, I'm thinking of using this to do a couple of demos around how to get rid of those seams when you've got two halves going together making a part. And we've got some great examples of where to do that on the main weapons and other bits of this. So yeah, do keep an eye out for that. Let me know what you think of a Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought. Do you think it is a good addition to the 40k range? Or do you think it's gigantism gone mad? Let me know. Other than that, I would just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.